Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to a $650 Intel gaming PC build. Before I get started with this video was requested by a user in one of my previous videos. If you have any requests for future videos, leave them in the comments section down below. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. For the CPU of the build, I went with the Intel Core i3-4130 dual-core CPU at 3.4 GHz. It's a dual-core CPU, yes, but don't be afraid, it also does have hyper-threading, and for $110 right now at NCIX, this is a really solid CPU because it has hyper-threading, it's dual-core, 3.4 GHz. It's a real good performer in games. Yes, it does lag behind in terms of video editing, live streaming, and multimedia applications when you're running multiple applications at once, but it's not terrible. Don't expect to do any good live streaming on this though, guys, because I used an i3 before and it was absolutely atrocious as far as live streaming went. Do not expect to do real good live streaming on higher end titles. And video editing, yeah, you can do some of that, but again, don't expect the best thing. But as far as gaming goes, this performs really, really well. Especially for $110, if this is just a gaming-centric build, it's going to outperform any AMD CPU at a reasonable price point, at the same price point as this CPU. So this is the best option in the build, in my opinion, for $110. Very cheap for an i3. i3s used to be like $130. There are still some $130, $140 i3s, but I thought this was good enough. We saved a little bit of money, put that towards the GPU, and yeah, let's get moving on. For the motherboard, I went with the Asus H81M-A Micro ATX motherboard. Yes, it is Micro ATX, but it's got 2 RAM slots, has, you know, all the features you pretty much need and nothing else. I really wanted to get a cheap motherboard that would get the job done. Yes, this is a $650 build, so we could get something a little bit higher end, but I wanted to save as much money as possible so we can put that towards the graphics card, which in a gaming-centric build, that is the crux of the build. So this motherboard's definitely going to get the job done. It's a solid motherboard from Asus, and I think you guys are going to like it. Again, it doesn't have all the features in the world, but it does have USB 3, SATA 6, all that kind of stuff, and it's not a terrible motherboard. It's just kind of limited as far as features go. It is $61, so what can you expect? Moving on for RAM, G.Skill Ripjaw Series 8GB, 240GB sticks running at 1600 MHz, $83. Definitely wanted to get 8GB in this $650 build. 4GB is an option, but I really wanted to go with 8 in this build. 8GB is an amount of RAM that's going to keep you good for a long time. The current consoles use 8GB as well, but I think the OS of the current consoles actually take up a significant amount of the RAM, so keep that in mind. But 8GB of RAM, I see this being like that standard for a very long time. I don't see 12GB or 16GB being that, you know, entry level point that a lot of these $600, $700 builds go towards, just because it doesn't really seem all that beneficial for gaming, because a lot of the games today don't even use all 8GB. A lot of them are still moving on to getting the use out of the 8GB. So I think 8GB is definitely going to keep you good for 4 or 5 years at least. For the hard drive, Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB. It's a 1TB hard drive for about $55. You guys already know what this is. No SSD in this build, obviously. It's only $650, so couldn't really fit that in. But if you do want to pick up a 2 or 3TB drive due to the expanding sizes of games, you can pick up a 2TB for about $90 and a 3TB is about $120. So if that's something you want to do, go ahead. But this Caviar Blue 1TB is definitely going to work in this build. Very fast hard drive, and it's definitely the hard drive that a lot of people have been picking up because it's cheap. It's 1TB, and Caviar Blue is pretty damn good from Western Digital. Performs really well, so I think you guys are going to like this a lot for only $55. For the graphics card, went with the Sapphire Radeon R9 280X 3GB Dual X video card, $240 after a $10 mail-in rebate. Really solid video card for 1080p gaming, guys. It also has 3GB of video buffer, so even if you do 1440p gaming, seems a little impractical with a build that's using a Core i3, but if you want that option to be open, I guess you can do that, but I'm guessing that most of you guys are going to be playing at 1080p, and the R9 280X absolutely excels at 1080p gaming. You're going to be maxing out most titles with really solid frame rates. Some of the higher end games like Witcher 2, yeah, you're gonna have to turn off Uber sampling. Metro Last Light, you're gonna have to turn off some of the anti-aliasing and things like that if you want the full 60 frames per second. But guys, this is a fantastic GPU. Also getting 3 free games from AMD's gold tier of games, some solid games in there. I believe Tomb Raider, Battlefield 4 is being rumored to be added, Murdered Soul Suspect, Thief. A lot of great titles that you can get for absolutely nothing if you buy this GPU. So $240 for a really solid GPU and a couple free games. It's from Sapphire, and they have a really good cooling solution as well. So overclocking is an option that's open, so if you guys are into that, you can go for that. For the power supply, we went with the Rosewell 650 watt 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular power supply for $50. I figured 650 watts is going to be perfectly fine. You don't even have the option of going for a Crossfire configuration on the motherboard, so no real point on getting a power supply that could handle Crossfire. Just figured this 650 watts going to work perfectly fine. That's why I went with it. It's pretty cheap at $50. It's 80 plus bronze certified, and Rosewell has a good track record with their power supply, so I figured this was an all-around winner. Finally, for the case, went with the Cooler Master Half 912 mid-tower case. Solid mid-tower case. Wanted to get something that's going to give you a little bit of upgradability options, but not break the bank either. So this is $50, and this is actually the same case I have. And I have a pretty high-end build, but I have a pretty mediocre case. I wouldn't really call this mediocre. Well, the word mediocre kind of has a negative stigma behind it, but the Half 912 is a great case, guys. I can vouch for it personally. My build's pretty high-end, but I'm using this $50 case just because I don't like spending a lot of money on my cases, but that's a whole other video that I could do. But thanks for watching this video, guys. Remember to hit that subscribe button, like this video. If you guys want to comment your suggestions for future videos, go ahead, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.